John chapter 4, verse 23 says, "Nevertheless, the hour is coming, and it is now, when the true worshippers will worship the Father with spirit and truth, for indeed the Father is looking for ones like these to worship him." So what we'll be doing is going through this into specific points, and what we'll actually start with is the phrase that we would be worshiping the Father with spirit and truth. Why is this significant, and what exactly does that mean? To get a little bit of background, in Exodus chapter 23, specifically verse 14 through 17 discuss it. It talks about how the Jews would have to go around for 3 festivals. Their worship was largely centered around these festivals and about meeting to a specific place, about their temples. For us, spirit and truth, we know that it's not really a tangible area, a tangible thing, something that you can really interact with. Spirit and truth is something that we act in, that we live in. So we can perceive from that that we would no longer be worshiping in a physical place. But then what does it mean when Jesus said the hour is coming and it is now? What's the hour? If we go to Romans chapter 10, verse 4, we can learn about that. Romans 10:4 says, "For Christ is the end of the law, so that everyone exercising faith may have righteousness." So what does it say there? The very first thing, Christ is the end of the law. So for us, we know that once Jesus made his sacrificial death, that was when the Mosaic law came to its end. That was when the hour was coming. Now, he didn't just say that the hour is coming. He hadn't died yet, but he said that it is now. What that really references is the fact that he had already been rallying his disciples. He had been getting people together that could follow the new law before he had actually died. So what about our next point? What is spirit and truth? Worshiping in spirit and truth, we've touched on it briefly, but really, to get a better understanding of it, we need to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9 through 12. It says, "But just as it is written, eye has not seen, and ear has not heard, nor have there been conceived in the heart of man the things that God has prepared for those who love him. For it is to us God has revealed them through his Spirit. For the Spirit searches into all things, even deep things of God. For who among men knows the things of a man except the man's spirit within him? So too, no one has come to know the things of God except the Spirit of God. Now we receive not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is from God, so that we might know the things that have been kindly given us by God." So what is this saying? If you go to verse 9, it says that it talks about the things that God has prepared for us. And in verse 10, it says that God has revealed them through his Spirit. Throughout those sets of verses, it really does explain it. In verse 10, it talks about the deep things of God. So beyond just understanding there is a God, or what the purpose is, it really explains it. So we can understand from that he would be talking about his scriptures, his rules, the details of our God. And really, when we're discussing this, you look at the details of God, we need spirit and truth, right? So Holy Spirit, it talks about where is it? In verse 11, "Who among men knows the things of a man except the man's spirit within him?" You might not know somebody truly. Only they know what their desires are, what their intentions are. And much the same way, we wouldn't know what Jehovah really wanted from us unless he allowed us to know that, unless his Holy Spirit allowed us to understand him through the scriptures. So to summarize, what we've learned through this is that in worshiping the Father with spirit and truth, what does it mean? Number one, that we wouldn't be worshiping in a physical location, but that we would be worshiping, and we do have our meetings, but we don't have to center ourselves around that. We don't have to worship a specific point, a specific thing. Rather, we have spirit and truth. We have our guidance through Holy Spirit, through prayer, and through the scriptures to help us understand what the right thing is. Following into that, what the hour is, and what does it mean that it's now and that it's coming? Jesus' sacrificial death.